there they are. Hey, glad you could join me tonight. Bill Boshiers in the Scizone. Thanks for dropping in. And if you're just out there, nothing to do, stick around. The next hour or so, we're going to have some fun, some interesting questions, and I think you will find some of the views a little bit different than what you're used to. Something was, they're already calling, somebody this week by the name of Jack, and okay, I won't mention his other name, but Jack and his family sent me an email to tell me that they watched the show. He and his whole family, his daughters introduced him to it. He's not familiar with the internet, but he asked his daughter, and I'm supposed to say hello to all three of his daughters. Well, hello, daughters. Glad you're here tonight. And says that they are learning and take what they hear and ask their teachers about it in school. That could be one of your big downfalls, children. Don't do that. Uncle Bill doesn't want you to get you kicked out of school with the thoughts and ideas that from the Scizone. Just have your teacher tune in, and we'll try to get them rehabilitated in the system. That's just a joke. Please don't. Jack, thank you again for you and your family, and for the other people that are out there. Thank you for joining us tonight. Anyway, tonight, a week or so ago, we talked to you about the tax rebate that people were going to get sometime in the PFA, pluck from air kind of thing. And we don't know who's got it or who's going to get it, but something came out of that. I took a lot of email about it, people complaining they weren't going to get it or thought they wouldn't get it, and some of you called me here and said, I don't think I'm going to get it. You might now get it. I don't know. And I have looked, and one of the producers, Tony, and I looked tonight on the internet. We found 4 different versions. He found 2, I found 2, of the same topic. If I'm finding 2 and he finds 2, what are the Congress and the Senate doing? Can you imagine that quagmire? Now, when are we supposed to get it? Nobody knows. Will it be here? I don't know. Maybe you do, and if you do, let me know. But let me ask you this. Out of the results that we got, there seemed to be a thread of questioning in it because of some of your statements. And let me ask you this. Do you think a recession is near, meaning coming at us, or do you think it's here? Your calls tonight, I'd like to find out, is the recession near or here? Could we take a look at it? How do you feel about the economy? And when I don't want to tell you how I feel about it, but I can tell you this. I don't want to tank this, but I haven't had, maybe you have, maybe you can help me with this. I haven't had any quote-unquote presidential wannabe tell me anything about the answer to that question. And it bothers me because if you and I feel like there's a recession here or close by or looming out there, why can't we get the media to ask that question? I don't know if you get that or not. The number to call is 381-3800. I'm Bill Boshiers. This is the Scizone. WBQC, glad you could join me, Channel 38. And if you're out there, I'd love to hear from you along those lines. Okay? You want to take a pause in the action here, Dr. Good? Well, I'll tell you what, we'll take a pause, and you got a chance to jump in, and we'll come back into your phone calls. Right here in the Scizone, I'm Bill Boshier. Don't take your seatbelts off. It's going to get fast. are. Glad you could join me. Bill Boshears in the Scizone tonight, channel WBQC 38. Thank you. And let me correct myself. It's 381-3838. So when somebody hangs up, jump in. Area code 513-381-3838. I got corrected. Let's go to the phone. Let's talk to Hank. Hey, Hank, you out there? Nope. Hank's not there. Shaving or something. It sounded like Hank was shaving. That's what you get for drinking and driving coffee or whatever. Let's go to Darren. Darren, are you there?
Hello?
Yes, you there?
Oh, this is Diane.
Diane, I'm sorry, Diane.
That's okay, Bill. I just love your show. I look forward to you every Saturday night.
Well, thank you. That's very kind of you.
Well, as far as your comment goes, I really do think there is a recession.
Okay.
And as far as the media goes, I think once they say it out loud, they know everybody's going to hold on to their money and make it 100 times worse.
Well, let me ask you this. How do you rate the economy? Is it poor? You don't have an answer. Excellent, good?
I think it's very poor. I think it's the poorest I've ever seen.
How do you know that?
Well, because of my paycheck. I haven't gotten any raises, but yet my paycheck does not cover my expenses at all. And believe me, when I say I live very moderately, I mean, I'm not a spender. I don't even have any credit cards. I mean, that's how, I
don't know how you would afford credit cards. I really don't.
Well, I can't, so I choose not to go there.
So what you do is that if you don't have it, you don't spend it.
Exactly. I live week by week. I do what I have to do. I pay my bills, my mortgage, my gas and electric. I put gas in my car. I go to the grocery store, and I can barely afford to do those things.
How many are in your family, may I
I am single.
Oh, okay.
I am an empty nester.
Oh,
my
okay.
children are grown.
Good.
Thank God.
Thank God.
For the simple fact
Are they about to move back in with you?
Oh, no, not they're two very productive children. I'm very proud of them.
God bless them.
And it just seems like
the reason I ask that, and I don't mean to, Diane, I don't mean to be personal. I've had a gentleman friend of mine in another state. I talked with him the other night, and he said, "Bill, my kids are ready to move back home with me."
Oh.
He said they're ready to come back to the farm, and I don't know what I'm. He said I don't know where I went wrong.
Well, I'll tell you, I don't know what's happened neither. I can't imagine raising a family right now. I really can't. I can't imagine.
I don't know how people do it.
I don't know how they afford the groceries.
I was talking to people about their college loan.
Oh, it's phenomenal.
People spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to get a job making $40,000 a year.
Oh, definitely.
And I don't understand that.
And those jobs are even hard to find. I mean, it's just unbelievable. In Cincinnati. The unemployment is phenomenal.
I wonder what the real rate is.
I really have no idea.
Everybody says it's like 5%.
No, it's got to be a lot more than that.
Because the people who don't go back and they don't get the extension or something like that, they just drop off the rolls. And if they don't get a job, they're never counted again.
Oh, absolutely. Well, it just seems like in the last 5 years, the crime rate, the job loss, the economy in every way.
Diane?
I mean, the cars, the homes. I mean, who can afford these $350,000 homes and up? I can't imagine these people's mortgages.
Diane, answer me a question. How many people do you know out of work?
I know a lot of people out of work. A lot of people out of work.
Would you say it's 50 or 60?
I would say it's at least 30%. Of the people I know.
Let's say when you go to church, maybe, I don't know, is there a large percentage of the people at church?
Yes. I would say there's at least 15% of the people in my church. But it's just, I don't understand a lot of things. Okay,
Nor do I. Diane, I got to move on. They're throwing rocks at me. Please call me again. Love to have you. Thank you for being there.
Okay. You have a great night.
Thank you, dear. Tim, you're on the air.
Yeah, Tim or Bill?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Yes, one comment about those checks they're sending to us.
Yeah.
That's a smoke and mirrors political move by both parties in order to get people to spend money and forget about this economy that we're in. If you look at the money that you're getting, at least 37% of it's going to go back to them in taxes in either federal or state, and then what's left, people are going to have to use to put in their gas tanks if they do have a job to go to work, or if they're looking for a job to get one.
Good point.
And then another thing about the recession, I think we're in one, because if you look at last week's statistics from the news where Macy's, where Walmart and Target have told how their sales have dropped dramatically, and people who have these gift cards, such as from Walmart, they're not spending them on items of pleasure net. They're spending them on necessities like food and things that they need for the home. So, yes, you hear the politicians saying and these economists saying, yes, we're entering or we may be in a recession and it's going to be a soft landing. I think it's just blowing smoke up our faces.
Tim, you're out there in the public, obviously. How would you rate the economy right now? Is it poor, excellent, good, or not only fair?
I say poor.
Okay. I'm going to ask everybody that question, and I don't want to find out. Now, let me ask you the other question. How do you assess that?
Well, I watch the financial news.
I got you.
And from some of the things, a lot of quarterly reports are coming in from a lot of these corporations, and they're saying, here what your sales, and like that lady who was just on, about the unemployment, there's a good figure right there. They just tell you the people who are drawing benefits. They don't tell you about the ones who've been dropped off the roll. And
I'd like to know what that number is.
Exactly.
Hey, Tim, I appreciate your call. Thank you, sir.
All right, good night.
Good night. Well, you want to take a pause now, boss? Nope, let's go right back to the phone. Let's go to Lee. There's a couple lines open. Jump in. Lee, you're on the air.
Hey, how's it going? I think the comedy's fair, but I think other people think it's poor. The people that don't have jobs think it's poor because they don't have a job. They don't have nothing to rely on. They don't know when they're going to have money or not have money.
That's
another thing, I think that we're getting so little back from this thing Bush has got going on is because illegal immigrants, they don't want to give out so much money to them because they're illegal, and they don't know who's illegal and who's not. And another thing I think is they're just riding their term as president and not doing anything about anything. They're going to say they're going to do something, but they're not. I don't think nothing's going down, but they're saying there's going to be stuff going down.
So you think the economy's fair, huh? Just
yeah.
Getting along. All right. I appreciate your call, Lee. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Tim.
And it's amazing. Good job. Jeez. Boy has lungs, and you have to wonder. They sound, I'm telling you, this is the problem. They walk among us. Alex, you're there.
Yeah. Well, I think one of the problems in our economy is them lazy idiots down in Covington I always see driving to work and they ain't working. It's about 12 o'clock. I see guys about 20 or 30 years old just walking around doing nothing. They're just a bunch of lazy bums.
Oh, okay. Well, and you think that's the cause of it?
I think that's the cause of it. And then all them
do you have a job? I'm sorry.
Yes, sir, I do.
Okay. And you think these other people are just bums because they don't have a job?
That's what I think.
All right. Well, that's your opinion. I appreciate it. Thank you. Let's go to Don. You're on the air, Don.
Hello. How are you?
I'm doing well, sir. Go ahead.
Fine, thanks. I just wanted to expand a little bit on the brief comment about the checks and where they'd go to, and the fact that most of your fine $300 or $600 check, whatever it is there, would go probably straight to gas, since gas is such an extremely high price, and the reason for that is that the government has pretty well fallen down completely on the idea of anti-monopolization and antitrust and all that kind of thing, and that's basically a good part of why the economy is in the way it is. It's totally...
Hey, Don, I got a question for you. You're obviously up on the topic. Do you think we ought to bail out the banks?
No. Well, they don't do it in Europe, for one thing.
They bought into those interest mortgages. Should we bail them out?
Well, I don't know. Better than bail them out, it should be that you spend some money on finding out how they got set up in the first place so poorly.
Well, we know how that happened.
Well,
Everybody got a little money out of it. Somebody's going to jail too.
Right. Well, yeah. Take action then. If you know how it happened, take action to stop it from happening again. Is really the only thing you really need to do instead of bailing anybody out.
Kind of the same thing happened once before called the Great Depression.
Sure.
Let me ask you this: how do you rate the economy? Poor, fair, excellent, or good, or what?
Well, I'm not really in a real good position to say that. I'm sort of self-employed. I have a little weekend work, and that's been, well, I don't know, like, in a way you can judge things from that. I deliver ads, and the ads have definitely cut down. When I started, there was as many as like 13 ads in a bundle to be delivered,
Sure.
And now there's maybe 6 or 5 or 4.
And you're in the advertising business, are you?
In a way, yeah.
Well, good. That's a good pulse to have, sir. I appreciate it. Thank you so much
Sure, fine.
for your input. Thank you.
Sure, bye.
Don and the rest of you, let's go back to the phones. Let's go to Lee this time. Is this the same Lee we had before? Lee, you're there. Go ahead.
Yeah, hi, Bill. How you doing?
Doing well, sir.
Okay, about 6 months ago, I told my wife this country could not absorb consistent $3 a gallon gasoline.
Exactly.
And what needs to be done is the next president or whatever needs to get in there, and I think you really do need to cut off the gas at night or have 2 days where you can't buy gas or something and get these damn towelheads back in line again.
Okay, let me ask you this. If it came to rationing, how would you feel about that? Would you like to have it rationed?
No, not rationing. What I'm saying is you've got too many young kids and pleasure driving, and the demand and everything is up, and a lot of people that need the gas to go to work and stuff like that to keep the prices down.
Okay.
You just I remember when Nixon was president that if you didn't get your gas by 6 o'clock on Friday, you would not have gas till 6 o'clock Monday morning. And if they did this for 10 or 12 weeks in a row, they'd have so much gas that the price would come down $1 a gallon guaranteed.
Well, let me ask you this. You obviously got your finger on some sort of pulse. How would you rate the economy right now?
The economy is borderline depression. You've got a situation where all the companies now are fighting to stay afloat. You're going to see the stocks sell out. The Dow Jones is going to go down because those were the blue chip stocks, and they're going to get their money out of it to try to keep their companies going. And in the meantime, the prices are going up, up, up because they're trying to stay afloat. And we're all suffering for it. And there is a breaking point. The crime is going to go up. People are going to get shot, and it's a bad deal.
Okay, so you're saying the economy is fair, good, excellent, no answer, poor?
Very poor.
Okay, I'll put you over there with them. I appreciate the call, sir. Thank you.
Thanks, Bill.
You got it. I appreciate that. Let's take and by the way, the line open, jump in there. Want to hear from you. Right here in the Scizone tonight, I'm Bill Bochiers till 12 o'clock. Hearing and listening to you. I don't know anybody else that's doing that. You need to be here. Right here in the Scizone. We'll take a pause. We'll be right back. Back in the Scizone tonight, Bill Bochiers. Thank you for joining me. We've got Martin and Mark, Sandy, and you. As soon as you get in here, how are you rating the economy? What's it look like to you? How do you feel about it? And do you? Well, let's ask you when I get here. Let's go to Mark. Been there the longest. Mark, you're there, sir. Go ahead.
Hey, how you doing there, Billy?
Doing all right, sir.
Hey, I'll tell you what's wrong with the economy, partner. You got a lot of foreign demand. You got a lot of companies wanting to go overseas because of cheaper labor. We ran into a problem where my company was bought out and they want to cut down health care. So the next president's going to have one heck of a time to build up everything.
You bet.
So I don't know what, I would rate the economy below poor as of right now.
Below poor, okay.
Yeah, we are more than in a recession.
You think we're headed for a depression?
I wouldn't say depression. I wouldn't say that now, but
Well, let me ask you this. I have a definition between recession and depression.
okay.
I'll tell you what my definition is, okay? In a recession, you have jobs. And you're creating jobs. In a depression, there are no jobs to be had, and nobody's correcting it.
That is true.
Now, you tell me where all of the unemployment is, that 5, 6, 7% that everybody talks about. I see more people than that standing along the streets in the middle of the afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be going to or from the station, and I see people that I would think would be at work. One of the callers mentioned that earlier here.
Yeah.
So you think that the economy is actually below poor right now?
Yes, I tell you why. And what's messed up, and I hate to bring up any political views, is it's almost more, you have a better shot at getting a home loan than you would a vehicle loan. And the problem is because banks are trying to make more money off an interest rate because they're starting to take a bigger downfall. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Oh, yes, I do, absolutely.
In healthcare, I went from having a premium insurance to a percentage base.
Wow.
And you're talking about a multi-million-dollar company, and they can't take care of your wife and kids? I mean, I don't get it, Billy. It's un-American.
Let me ask you a question. Do you like this kind of show, this kind of programming?
What's that, partner?
Do you like this kind of programming where you have a chance to express your opinions?
Yes, I'll tell you, and it's freedom of speech right there, partner.
That's what it is.
I'm telling you, and you know what, and everything else, we couldn't rate ourselves next to the damn commies the way things are going now, I'll tell you.
I believe that. Hey, I appreciate the call. Thank you,
You take
Martin.
care, Billy.
Got you. Let's go to Sandy, I believe. Sandy, you're there. Go ahead.
Hi. Yeah, I think there was a guy named Hank that called earlier.
Maybe, yes.
Okay. Well, it's true because there's a lot of people that don't want to work out there.
Uh-huh.
That they're just plain lazy. And there are jobs out there. It's just nobody wants to work. And then they get on about the Mexicans, that there are Mexicans that do take these jobs. You know, and it's just, like I have a friend, he's in this business, and he has to keep firing people because they're either doing drugs or they don't show up for work. And that's sad because it's just, there's so many jobs out there. It's just the Americans anymore, they just don't want to work because everything's handed
So
to
you
them.
think it's more of a personal choice for these people not to work. Let me ask you this. Is it affecting the economy? And if so, well, how would you rate the economy right now?
I think it is affecting it because you have these attorneys out there that's getting people on Social Security that doesn't need to be on it. The ones that needs to be on it can't even get on it because my husband passed away like 5 years ago.
And you need to be on it.
No, I don't be on it. No,
Oh, okay.
I said my husband passed away 5 years ago,
I
and
see.
he needed to be on it really bad. He finally got on it, but 2 years later he passed away.
Uh-huh.
But I see people all the time that doesn't need to be on, that's working on the side, you know, and it's not right. I mean, there's a lot of things out there. They need to get on these attorneys that gets after these people. And you know, you're always afraid about being sued and everything because of the attorneys. And that's another thing.
Sandy, is the economy poor, good, fair, what?
I don't know. It's not good, no.
It's not good.
I don't think so. It's just the way the system is, and everything's out for themselves anymore. You know, whoever took the first company out of country, to me, they're a traitor because they went against the United States.
I agree with you. Thank you, dear.
You're welcome.
Let's go to Martin, who's been standing by. I believe it's Martin. Martin, you're on the air.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing well, sir.
Well, yeah, I think everybody, needs to just get a job,
You think everybody ought to get a job? Turn your...
That's a big part in it.
Okay.
That's all it's about, working. And if people
All right.
ain't working, you know what I'm saying, they ain't got nothing to give back. You know what I mean? It ain't fair to the people who is working because taxes go up and everything.
How do you rate the economy?
Very, very poor right now.
All right, sir. Appreciate your call. Thank you, Martin. And folks, when you do get on, please turn your televisions and all of the minutia behind you down, will you? There's two lines. Well, no, there's one line open right now. Jump in. Let's go to Teresa. You're there.
Hello?
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
I want to say that I think the economy is poor because basically prices of everything is going up, but income is not.
I agree.
The gasoline's going up, food's going up, heat's going up. I mean, Duke Energy's being sued for taking kickbacks from the big companies and then slapping it to everybody else.
Who did that, Duke?
Yeah, Duke Energy.
I wasn't familiar with it, but I'm glad you said that, not me.
So how do we know that's not going on with gasoline and food and everything else?
Oh, it is. You know it is. You're going to get a salad one of these days. You're going to get a salad one of these days that's going to cost you $500.
I mean, I was unemployed for a couple of months last year, and when I finally did get a job, I'm making now what I was making 3 years ago.
So you didn't increase anything?
Oh, no, but everything still costs more.
So the economy is what?
Very poor.
Very poor. Okay. Yeah. I got to put very out here because nobody's buying it. Yeah. All right. I appreciate it, Teresa. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Let's do a commercial and pay the lights and the rent. Somebody in this family's got to work, and we'll do it this way. In the meantime, you take care. Don't take your seatbelts off. There's a line open. Oop, there it goes. Jump in. Right here in the Scizone, I'm Bill Boshiers. Stick around. With all the things staring you in the face, Mr. and Mrs. America, how do you feel about what's going on around you? Is your economy okay? Is it fair? Is it in good shape? Is it bleeding to death? Has fair trade got us over a barrel? Let's go find out from Jennifer. Jennifer, you're there. Go ahead.
Yes, I'm here.
Thank you. Jennifer?
Yes.
Talk to me.
Listen, I think this country is going to hell in a handbasket.
Really?
I'm on Social Security and widow's benefits. And I have to pay my rent and my gas and electric, which is sky high, the gas and electric. And now you have to pay for your Medicare.
Yeah.
Now that, instead it used to be where you could get Medicare for free and you didn't have a co-payment. Now you have a co-payment with your Medicare. You can't get any assistance to help you with your prescriptions because I go to the hospital every 2 months to have my renal stents changed.
Yes.
And then I have to pay a co-payment out of my pocket. And, you try to get assistance from Job and Family Services, and you really can't get assistance from them. So gas and electric went up. The gas is gone up.
Okay, you've said that. Now, how do you think the economy is? Is it poor, very poor, or what is it? Excellent, good, fair?
Very, very, very poor.
Okay, my dear. I appreciate it. Thank you, Jennifer. Put her over here under very, 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 golly. Let's go to Brandon. Brandon, you're on the air.
Yeah, I just wanted to call up and tell you guys what I believe the difference between a recession and a depression is.
What's that?
Now, a recession is when your neighbor loses his job, and a depression is when you lose your job.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this, Brandon. Have you lost your job?
I have not.
So you think it's just a recession?
I think it's just a recession currently. Yes.
Do you
But
think
we're in big trouble with the way they cut the interest rate twice within about 9 or 10 days there? That's going to come back and bite us.
How does that affect you, though? Is it going to change your house payment or what?
It probably will, yeah, because with the business that I'm in, I deal with people with disposable income, and when that starts drying up, it's going to hurt us as well.
What kind of business are you in, may I ask?
Cosmetic surgery.
Okay. So how would you rate the economy right now? Is it fair, good, excellent?
I would say it's poor right now, and it's about to get a whole lot worse.
I have to agree with you. I do agree with you, Brandon. Thank you so much. I appreciate your call. Anytime. Thank you, sir. Let's go to Bill. Bill, you're on the air with me.
Hey, how you doing? Long time, Bill.
Glad to have you. Go ahead, sir.
Two major things, I think. I'm really always amazed at how these oil companies can have $10 and $40 billion.
Exactly.
And yet you have one boat sink or have one gasoline fire and gas goes up 25 cents a gallon.
Out of sight. Goes right out the roof.
And yet nobody ever questions that.
Never does.
And as far as the unemployment is concerned, I think the unemployment is horrendous. The figures aren't real. They're a lot higher than what they portray. It took me 3 years. I'm in my 60s, and it took me 3 years to find another job. I finally found one. And
are you making as much money as you were with the other job?
Lord, no.
So you took a cut in pay.
Oh, I took a major cut in pay. I lost my wife at the same time through her heart disease, but Good old Cobra took care of that for me. Took care of all my money too.
Yeah.
It's been great talking. I love this show.
Thank you, sir. Glad to have you aboard anytime, sir.
And it's very poor economy.
It's very what?
Very poor economy.
Very poor. I'll put you over under very. I appreciate it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you now.
Let's go to Randy. He's been there the longest. Randy, you're on the air. Go ahead.
How you doing, Bill?
Doing better and better, sir.
That's good. You're one of the better ones that's doing better. But
I'm only doing it here with you doing better. The rest of it's in the toilet. Go ahead.
Well, the biggest thing is the economy is going down the tubes fast. And I always wondered, out of this election thing,
oh man,
where are they getting all the money to do this in the first place, to run these elections?
They got a lot of foreign investors that is illegally donating to them, is what I keep getting. But that's just me. I'm just a skeptic. You know?
They're putting in billions of dollars for a $300,000 job. And
doesn't that make you wonder? That kind of makes me wonder. Why would you spend millions to get this know-nothing job? Oh, it must be the power. And somebody gives you a lot of money. Oh.
I thought they had a cap on that in the first place.
I don't think you ought to be allowed to take any kind of money.
Oh,
I don't
no.
think you ought to be able to put up pizza boxes on your tree in your driveway, and that be your campaign. That should be all you're allowed to do.
Exactly. I believe that.
And stop spending. And tell me what is accomplished by all these primaries.
Nothing. And they're not.
Nothing.
They're not talking about what you want to hear in the first place.
I haven't heard anybody say anything about this.
No.
Oh, they do. It's smoke and mirrors, and he doesn't like it because he is the way he is, and she's doing it because she did so-and-so, and they are doing this and they are doing that, but I'm the one you want to vote for.
Well, the biggest thing is you don't have anybody to vote for, period.
I'll tell you what. If Barack Obama and her Princess Highness Hillary and McCain is all they've got for me to vote for, I'm sorry. I'm not going to vote. And this will be the first time in my adult life I didn't vote. But
true.
I'll tell you what I will do. Ralph Nader will get my vote.
And he'll get two, because he'll have mine right behind yours.
Well, I'll either that or I'll write my own damn name in. I might even do that.
Well, you can't win that way because you're not a lawyer. That's the bad thing.
That's true. I don't have my... You're right. I can't do it that way.
That's right.
Randy, I appreciate... By the way, how do you rate the economy?
It's poor and it's going down the tubes fast.
Poor and down the tubes. Thank you, sir.
And the fat lady hasn't sang yet.
Not yet, but she's out on her way to the stage. Thank you.
She's trembling on the sidewalks.
My kind of guy.
Thanks, Bill.
Thank you, Randy. Let's go to John, who says... John, you're on the air, sir. Hello, John.
Yeah.
You're on the air, sir. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just wanting to know if you think that President Bush... I just wanted to know if you think President Bush is the reason we're sliding into repression.
What do I think about President Bush? Is he a what?
Do you think he's the reason that we're going into this depression?
Is he the reason we're going into the depression?
Yeah, do you think that?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Your cell phone or something is cutting out, John, but I appreciate your call. Thank you.
Just one more thing real quick. Are you a Christian?
His cell phone cut out or something. I don't know what that was. Let's go to Acer. Is it Acer? You're on the air.
Asa.
Asa, I'm sorry. Excuse me.
That's all right. Economy's not any better. No, I'm a lot worse than I was. This Hillary Clinton, this Barack Obama.
Yeah.
If you remember when Bill Clinton used to carry the contacts, he'd put blue contacts in his eyes. He'd speak to white crowds. Then he'd go in front of the African American crowds. He would put brown contacts in.
I don't know anything about that.
Well, yeah, that's what Clinton used to have, the brown contacts in front of the African Americans. The blue was it. Well, I've noticed that the news media is making Barack Obama look a little bit darker in some photos and a little bit lighter in more different photos.
I just want to see him raise his hand and put it over his heart and say the Pledge of Allegiance, and I want him to swear an oath on the Bible.
Well, yes, and then with Hillary, I've noticed there's a lot of people coming out supporting the Barack Obama and McCain. And
how do you rate the economy?
economy is lousy right now, but I would like to see Ellen DeGeneres to come out and support her.
Let's go to Sarah. You're on the air. Go ahead.
Hello?
Yes, go ahead. You're on the air.
Hi, I just want to say I think the economy is really poor, and I blame it on Bush because I think that they're over there bombing Iraq, and I support the troops, but they're giving them $1 billion to rebuild that country when he needs to be focusing on his own.
I think we ought to stop the war, bring the money home, and fix this country first.
That's what I think, too.
All right, Mike, dear, I appreciate your call. Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's take a pause in the action and come right back to you and your phone calls right here in the Scizone. I'm Bill Boshier. Stick around.
You watch the fool where Dave gets it.
Please?
I'm back in the Scizone, and I'm across the street from the Foo Zone. The Foo Zone is where you got to be Friday nights. If you have anything to do, stick around. Tomorrow morning, you'll get to see, he's right over there, Lincoln Ware. Lincoln will be here. And let's go to Coral, I guess. Coral, you're there. Hello? Hello, Coral? Yes? You're listening to your television. You snooze, you lose. Let's go to Johnny. I know Johnny's awake. Johnny, you're there, sir.
Good evening, sir.
How are you?
Doing fine. How are you?
Doing well.
I have just a few comments. I
All
heard this one, and I just had to jump in on it.
All right.
As far as the oil prices,
Yeah?
I feel it's a self-inflated price by the Arabs, our government, and big business, which, of course, people in the government, you know, people that make $400,000 a year aren't going to know what it's like to be an average American.
And they've got a chauffeur-driven limousine paid for by the Americans. Thank you.
You know, they can go somewhere, do a speech for 5 minutes, take their whole family, and it's a paid vacation.
Oh, paid vacation. You're right, for 5 minutes.
You know, also I have a problem which bothers me with everybody wants to complain about the problems in our country, which we all have the right, freedom of speech, but we only have 20-some% of the people voting every time there's a voting time. The way I feel is if you don't vote, you don't have the right to complain.
Uh-huh.
And it's just, you know, the whole deal with this economy, when you have the government giving incentives to big business to send their jobs overseas, laying off Americans, and how can your economy get any better when you're laying off Americans and sending the work out of our country?
Well, that's called not creating jobs, and that's
Exactly.
called a depression.
Exactly.
Anyway, I
And,
appreciate
you know,
By the way, what do you think? It's poor, fair, good? What do you think it is?
I think right now we're in a poor state. If we don't take our country back as a people as a whole and basically get the government to wake up and realize that we're shooting ourselves in our foot, this economy is going to be going down.
You got it. Appreciate your call.
All right,
thank you,
thank you.
sir. Johnny. Let's go to Chris. Chris, you're there.
Hi, Bill. How are you doing?
Doing well, sir. Thank you for the call.
I have 2 points to make, and one is about the overall economy. How I see the economy is poor, but it's been poor for the average American for longer than just this brief period of time that the media's picked up on it.
Uh-huh.
And that is why, you know, that is because the stock market is generally the indication of how the country's economy is doing.
Yeah.
That's not a very good indication for the average American family anymore because somewhere between 50 and 60% of the stock market is foreign investment.
Yeah.
So we decide how the average American family is doing based on foreign countries. The second part is the rebates that we'll all be getting back in May.
Do you think we're going to get them?
I think we're going to get them, and I think that they're needed. But this is the underlying problem I have with the rebates,
Uh-huh.
is that America does not have the money to pay for these rebates. And
We don't
so-
have the money to pay for the war, so it's
Right.
all on the credit card.
So how we do this is through something called short-term treasury bonds, called T-bills. What happens is foreign countries, primarily China, buys these T-bills. In China, and so the average American will get somewhere between $600 and $800. Well, what will they spend that? Well, they'll spend that, for their families at some place like Walmart, where 90% of the items that they'll buy will come from China.
Exactly.
So not only has China, bought the T-bonds, not only are we paying the interest back to China who's bought this, but the average American family are going to subsidize more of China's economy.
You got it. So you're telling me you think it's a poor economy right now?
I think it's a very poor economy.
I appreciate your call there, Chris. Thanks a bunch for the call.
You have a
Appreciate
great night.
You also. Let's go to Philip. Philip, you're on the air, sir.
How you doing there? I heard a few comments earlier this evening talking about people walking the streets.
Yeah?
Okay, I'm one of those people that walk the street.
Okay.
Okay, but, I've went out to apply for several jobs, but what I see in those jobs are people with their pants hanging all down past their butt, and people are cutthroating on the job so bad that if you take time to get involved with the jobs, it seems like you're going to get axed out, and then, I do get some part-time work in, but the job market is so cutthroat right now. It's unbelievable.
So what do you think? How do you think the economy is?
The economy, it's rough. We got to have fortitude about that. And just
Is it poor? Is it excellent, good, fair, what?
It's shot to bits right now.
So you think it's
poor?
It's poor. Okay, sir.
Yeah.
I appreciate your call. Stick
All right,
around.
buddy.
We got more to do. Appreciate your call, sir.
Okie doke.
Let's go to, you want to do the break now, right? We're going to tell you about some other stuff we do around here, and we'll be right back after this. Go for it. Well, we've got some graphics that we put together for you to show you how you fit in and see if these don't really fit you. I think you are much more important than the graphics we're going to show you, but that's beside the point. Could we put that graphic up and show them the pie? 29% said poor. No answer. I can't believe anybody. And where in the hell is this 3% people? 23% said it's good, and 44% say it's fair. My golly, it must be someplace close to the valley, It sounds like somebody put that together that I don't believe that. Obviously, they're not in touch with reality, whoever put it together. Fortune magazine is responsible for it, and that may be part of the problem right there called propaganda. All right, let's move right back to the phones. Do we need to do the other one? Well, let's do the other one. There's the other one. Right now, do you think the economy conditions in this country as a whole are getting better, getting worse, or staying about the same? 33% staying the same. 65% says worse. And oh my God, 1%. They don't know. And the 3%, same 3% in the valley. It's got to be that's doing that. Anyway, again, thank you, Fortune Magazine, for that bit of propaganda. Moving right back to the phones and people out there. Robin, you're there. Good evening.
Good evening, Bill. How are you this evening?
I'm phenomenally well, considering this.
Okay, but I think that 3% has something to do with the Bush people that that have the money and this, that, and the other.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Also, I wanted to touch on, for the economic, in the United States, that this president has put us in a deficit.
Yes, he has.
Let
me ask you this: is the
it's tipsy turvy.
Robin, listen. I get to question you. Is the economy poor, excellent, good, or fair?
It's extremely poor.
Extremely poor. I'm going to put you way over here then. Robin, I appreciate your call. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Bill. Great. Good job.
Good, thank you. I'm running out of time here, but I'm going to try to get all of you in. Let's go to Tony right quick. Tony, you're on the air.
Good evening, Bill.
How you doing, sir?
I'm doing fine, sir.
Are we in a poor, excellent, good, or fair?
Well, for the have-nots like myself, it's poor.
All right.
For the haves, it's probably excellent. It's that creepy 3%.
You got it, my friend. Thank you.
Thanks, bye.
And now we'll ask Lee. Lee, where are we, if anywhere?
Lee,
Bill, how are you?
Well, I'm fine, Lee. Now that you mentioned it, I'm just well.
I think that we are in bad shape.
Bad shape.
I went through the Depression. We had a WPTA that we put our young men to work.
We need another one.
That didn't have a job.
We need another one.
They put them on the roads.
I know, we need another one.
And they didn't stand on the corners. And they didn't go to churches and get help. And these poor churches give and give and give. I'm a senior citizen. I'm not hurting for anything, thank God.
Thank God.
Yes,
Thank you, Lee.
We are in bad shape.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate that, dear. What do we got? I'm sorry. Oh, my goodness. Will miracles never stop? Let's go right to Joe. Joe, you're on the air.
Hi, Bill. How are you?
Doing well, sir.
I say the economy is poor or very poor, and we are definitely heading into a depression.
Well, I'll tell you, I hate to say it, but I think you're right.
I'm
Joe,
sorry to say it, too.
Joe,
yeah,
we're going to keep an eye on it here. I want you to join me every week.
I have been watching, bud.
I appreciate it, and I'll tell you why. It's the people like you who watch this kind. By the way, do you like this kind of a show?
I kind of do.
You get to talk about it. You get to be the show.
Yeah, it makes me wish I almost knew something, you know.
Well, you do, my friend. You got an opinion. That's what's really important. Joe, I appreciate the call. Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you.
Let's go quickly to Brandon. Brandon, did you get that haircut? You're on the air, sir. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just heard earlier on the show that you were endorsing Ralph Nader. I was wondering what your opinion on Ron Paul was.
I only said that I would vote for him under the condition that I couldn't get anybody else to vote for. What they're showing me, I don't want to vote for. Ron Paul, if he can get in there, I'd love to vote for him.
All right, that's what I wanted to hear. Thank you.
All right, brother. Thank you so much, Brandon. And oh my goodness, Odell, are you there, sir?
Yes, how you doing?
I'm doing well, sir.
I'd like to make a comment on what was said earlier.
Yeah, quickly.
How the Mexicans and were coming over here taking all the jobs.
Okay.
The reason why it's like that, I think, is because
Odell, that's from Bond Hill. You're taking way too long, but call me next week. We'll continue it. I'm out of time, as it might be with you, but I'll be here next week, same time, same place, and I want you and Odell and Jim and Matt and all the rest of you who couldn't get in, thank you for calling. Thank you for being a part of this right here in the Scizone, where we'll take a look at it, and you can be the judge and the jury.